The Bears are staying busy. Kliff Kingsbury has also came in for an interview. Holy cow. What's up, guys? Swift here covering everything Chicago Bears. With some more breaking news as the Bears are interviewing former Cardinals head coach Kliff Kingsbury for the offensive coordinator job. This is a big name, but I think it will lead some fans to jump to conclusions. But I'm going to break it all down for you as well as get you caught up on what has been a whirlwind of a day so far. Let's get right into it. First off, if you missed it, this is my third video of the day. If I knew the Bears were going to interview so many people today, I would have waited, but they interviewed both Marcus Brady and Zach Robinson earlier today. I dropped videos on both of those candidates already, but then news broke that the Bears are also interviewing Kliff Kingsbury. That brings the total interviews up to 9 for the offensive coordinator position. I wouldn't be surprised if another name drops after I finish this video. Honestly, I think that's more candidates than we interviewed for the head coaching job last year. Ryan Poles is really putting in work and doing his due diligence on this one. 9 interviews already. 7 of the 9 have previous play calling experience, and I expect the team to move forward in this process very soon. I also think it's possible we could hire 2 of the candidates total if we're able to bring in someone else's QB coach or passing game coordinator. But let's dig into Kliff Kingsbury, one of the biggest name candidates on the list. He is the second name that is not from the Sean McVay coaching tree. He comes from the Mike Leach tree that produced Lincoln Riley and his air raid offense. Kingsbury was the offensive coordinator for the Houston Cougars before landing Texas Tech's head coaching job in 2013. He implemented the wide-open air raid offense and had some really exciting seasons, especially on offense, but they never won more than 8 games during his 6 years at Texas Tech. He then would bring that system to the NFL when he got hired as the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. When he arrived in Arizona, they already had Josh Rosen on the roster, but Kingsbury chose to go with Kyler Murray, and they traded away Rosen. He would then lead the Cardinals to the playoffs by his 3rd season, but then Kyler Murray tore his ACL in year 4, and Kingsbury got fired. He then would go back to the college ranks and spent this year with USC with projected number 1 overall pick Caleb Williams. That's right, so not only is Kingsbury a huge name, he's a former NFL coach, and he's had a ton of success with different mobile quarterbacks. He's worked firsthand with Patrick Mahomes, Caleb Williams, and Kyler Murray. That's an extremely impressive resume, and he's only 44 years old. He has 4 years of play calling experience in the NFL and 9 years of calling plays in college. I think Kingsbury would only accept the offensive coordinator position. He wants a chance to call plays in the NFL again. He did not call plays this year at USC, but he worked closely with Caleb Williams in Lincoln Riley's air raid offense. However, something you have to take into account here is that Caleb seemed to take a step backwards this year after his incredible season in 2022. What part did Kliff Kingsbury play in that, and what were Kliff's impressions working closely with Caleb Williams for a whole season? Something to think about here. I know a lot of people want to jump to conclusions with interviews, but it's very possible that Ryan Poles is just gathering information at this point. Remember, we have the number 1 pick, and Kliff worked with Caleb Williams all year long. Why not bring him in and get as much possible information about Caleb as you can out of him? Why not listen to how Kingsbury would implement Caleb into this offense? Why not also hear what his plan would be on how he would work with Justin Fields? That's what Ryan Poles has done in every one of these interviews, but Kliff Kingsbury has some special background that other guys don't. But Poles has now heard 9 different plans for what these intelligent offensive football minds would do with the Chicago Bears offense. He's heard what they would do with Justin Fields. He's also heard all of their opinions on how they would run the offense with Caleb Williams. And he's probably also heard their opinions on how they would run the offense with a couple other rookie quarterbacks as well. Ryan Poles is doing this the right way. And bringing in Kliff Kingsbury just continues to show how serious he has taken this. He knows this is one of the most important decisions in Bears history. Whoever they hire at offensive coordinator will factor into what Ryan Poles does with that number 1 pick. Now, let me be clear about that. Poles will make that decision himself, with the help of Ian Cunningham and his scouting department, but he's taking these interviews very seriously. When you hear 9 smart football minds give you detailed plans on how they would run this offense, there has to be some sort of a general consensus or a plethora of shared ideas and thoughts that resonate after you get done interviewing all these guys, or maybe one candidate who really stood out above everyone else. All of those talks, all of those discussions, and all of those smart football opinions will help Ryan Poles make the smartest decision for the Chicago Bears. I believe that Poles asked these guys a ton of questions. For instance, on top of having them give their plans for quarterbacks, he could also be asking their opinions about guys like Marvin Harrison Jr. Like, if you were running this offense in 2023, what would your dream be for what we did with our top 10 picks? Maybe most of these offensive coordinators are salivating over working with someone as talented as Marvin Harrison Jr. Or maybe they really all do want to work with Caleb Williams. But at the end of the day, that's all data that Ryan Poles is collecting to help him make the best decision for this franchise. And then just quickly catching you guys up, let's go over the 9 guys who have interviewed for the Bears offensive coordinator job. First, we got Shane Waldron, the Seahawks offensive coordinator, Greg Olson, the Seahawks QB coach, Greg Roman, the former Ravens OC, Liam Cohen, who worked under Sean McVay, but spent last year as the offensive coordinator for Kentucky, Kliff Kingsbury, who's the 49ers passing game coordinator, Thomas Brown, who was the Panthers offensive coordinator, Mark Brady, who was an offensive assistant for the Eagles, Zach Robinson, who was the Rams passing game coordinator, and another guy underneath the Sean McVay coaching tree, and then Kliff Kingsbury. Only Kliff Kingsbury and Greg Roman run offenses that have no relation to Sean McVay's coaching tree. Most of these guys have a lot in common, but out of these 9 total candidates, 7 of them have called plays in the NFL, and that's my biggest point. Let's bring in an experienced play caller. Let me know what you guys think of this. Not only Kliff Kingsbury, but the other guys brought in for interviews as well. Does this change up your list as who is the favorite? I know a lot of people have mentioned Shane Waldron and Kliff Kingsbury as their favorites. Those are my favorites currently as well. But now we've added some other big names to the list. Let me know how you feel, guys. Please remember to hit that like button for me. And until next time, bear down.